when this. Yep. Well, hi everybody. Another edition of Tarter Sauce, and with me today, we're happy to have D Dalfonso, the executive director of the Peoria Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Perfect.
And welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And for you folks who recognize that name, he was the communications director, JD was, for Congressman Darren LaHood. Yes. So, and that's how we got to know each other.
Yes.
When I was with the paper. So how is life at the Convention and Visitors Bureau? You've been there since August?
August, yeah, start date. So I was awarded this opportunity in July and took a little time off. We had a little family vacation and got hit the ground running in August. So it's been a whirlwind to say the least, but it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. Time has flown by, as they always say, and that's true to this situation as well.
Now, people who might not know what that job entails, I mean, it's sort of self-explanatory when you hear it. Your job is, how do you view your job? We'll let you define it.
The way I break it down is in two parts, and this is based off what we've seen the industry do in the matter of tourism. I tell people we have a traditional side of tourism that stands strong today and has through a history. We're trying to bring overnight stays and tourism to the area, to bring more hotel tax and revenue to support more jobs to the area. That's right. Fundamental to the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the tourism industry. However, as we've seen a slight shift in a good way, we've seen another arm develop, and that's really our opportunity to become destination stewards.
Oh.
How do we advocate for the area to promote why it's a great place to live, work, buy a home, start a business, start a career, start a podcast?
So it's broadened.
Broadened, because the idea is that when you become destination stewards and you're good at that and take pride in where it is, promote civic pride is written up here. That's what we're doing. Is to, when people see how much fun you're having here and you live in here and you get this all the time, it translates to say, well, that's a cool place. We should go check that out. Even for a weekend, come check out, spend some money, support your local businesses across our 7-county region. That's what we're looking to do. So we have a sales team dedicated to bringing conventions and large meetings and even small meetings. That goes on. That's not going to change, right? And we still have to tailor that to what we have here. But our sales and marketing teams are working very closely together on how do we match those up.
Well, an example of that, I just happen to know this because of my involvement with the Innovation Alliance, Jake Hammond and the Peoria Innovation Alliance. They've opened a little office down on 315 Main Street, just down the street. We're downtown Peoria here, just further down the street. And you guys have got a satellite office in there.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And we've been happy to partner with Jake and some of his initiatives as he's working to promote the innovation that has been here in Central Illinois, and as well as working what's the present and the future look like for innovation. As it pertains to the CVB, he does have at 315 Main, the Peoria Made space, and so we're happy to be a part of that in a sense of providing a stop-in location for a Visitors Bureau, providing information for their visit to the Peoria area. Just going to be simple, clean whiskey barrel, tapping back into our heritage.
Oh, there we go.
With some pamphlets, as well as we are contracting and working with a local artist.
Is the whiskey barrel empty, or is it?
It's empty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had to move it in there.
Just checking.
It's a good question.
You might get more people than you thought.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, we get more people in, more traffic would be great. But right now it's empty.
Right.
And we're contracting with local artist Kayla Phillips, and graphic designer, and so she's going to be installing a piece of artwork on a wall in there that's going to be dedicated.
Right.
Great opportunity for photos and collaboration as well. So.
The thing that I think we lack sometimes in this town and any town probably, but I always hear about wayfinding, of late, because we don't think, I'm talking about residents here in Peoria, we don't always think of our community as it is for somebody who's just arriving.
Yes, right.
Just drop downtown for a meeting, let's say Pam Marquette or whatever, and now you're just setting out on foot in Peoria for the first time.
Yeah.
You don't think of that if you've lived here for X number of years, but you guys do.
Yeah.
Because you have to think of those terms of somebody coming in for the first time.
Absolutely. Yeah. What are people seeing here for the first? Who are they meeting for the first time? This bureau is a big part of that, providing hostesses to make sure that their first face is a welcoming face to their conference or meeting space, or even just leisure tourism. How do we help coordinate those efforts to make it of ease to them? And so that's why we're working. We're working with local cities and municipalities to say, all right, what's needed to help the restaurants promote them. and the ease of access for the tourism. We're working with Deb Rattler a little bit on wayfinding project as well, and it's the cliche of no idea is a bad idea. Really, right now, to find out what's the best way to make ease of access and availability for our tourists coming to town.
One of the things you probably, and you're a young, energetic guy, and we need that in that position because, let's face it, Peoria of late. And depending on what of late means, 4 or 5 years, last 5 years, has taken some shots. Caterpillar, we know about the headquarters, moving to Chicago. We know that also means there's still a great many Caterpillar people here. I think that's been explained. But there's still that psychological feeling. I mean, because you deal a lot of times with folks from outside Peoria, and maybe the only perception they have, oh, yeah, this is the town that lost Cat.
Yeah.
You have to overcome that.
Yeah,
So,
we do.
Yeah.
And that's a great point. And, Caterpillar's been a great partner of Central Illinois for 90 plus years, right? And they're a pride of our history. But it's not what makes up Peoria entirely. And it is such a Fortune 50 company. Yeah, it resonates across the world. Oh, you're from Peoria. That's the headquarters of CAT. That's the birthplace of Richard Pryor. It's probably the two one you most likely get. But as part of the big table, we were trying to emphasize, too, in the quality of life, what else comes with that. Now, my argument against Caterpillar leaving, we see absolute growth and opportunity at the same time. The headquarters, we still have the largest support of employees here in Central Illinois. But my argument is that Caterpillar's business decision to move their headquarters is not the most devastating thing that's happened to Peoria. Prohibition was.
Oh, yeah. Back to the whiskey barrel.
Whiskey barrel, yeah. I mean, so here's a city and a region that has endured one of the most tribulating times where your greatest economic driver became illegal overnight.
Right.
What does that do to a community? Right. And so we've been here in a sense before. We've faced trials and tribulations and adversity, and we've thrived through it. And you can see another announcement today from our medical community making strides to help out. And we take pride in the medical community. At the same time, the medical community can change. A piece of legislation can change the entire medical community at one point. And not to scare everybody, but what I follow up with
I
is
never thought of that. Oh, no.
I mean, that's the reality.
And
we try and find the next largest employer for support, and the medical community is probably right up there. And we have we have Maui Jim, RLI, we have great corporate operations here in Central Illinois. But what I tell people is that we go back to that whiskey heritage. What's something that never changes? What's something that people can't take away? And in my view, that's our history. Caterpillar is part of that history. Medical community part of that history. Duryea, whiskey. I mean, we have a rich history. People were here on the map in 1680, 340 years ago.
French Village,
Fort Creve Coeur. And so there is so much more, and I don't know if everybody understands our narrative, and I think the CVB is going to help understand what our narrative is, too, because there's a lot of pride to be found there.
How do you, how do you go about sort of countering the negativity? Because, I mean, people have a right to be skeptical. People have a right to be, I don't know. I mean, that's fine. Doubters have their place in sports. Oh no, they have no chance, and then you find out. But at the same time, it's almost like sometimes we are our own worst enemy in Peoria. But, only because we don't. And I'm being, of course, overly simplistic here, but you do have to kind of run hard to fight that.
Yeah, it is. But my personal opinion is I think one of the easiest things to do in life is to complain.
True.
And so it's natural. Everybody does it, and everybody has something that they
get
can
cut off in traffic or whatever.
Absolutely. It's and people, I do it. I'm not. But at the same time, I think it's again understanding what we have and being reminded of it.
Right.
Sometimes people forget about it, and naturally that happens. But how can we bring up the greatness that we have in Central Illinois? And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and sometimes and I'm saying this as somebody who used to spend some time down at the Apollo Theater, just down the street here. I always thought that block that's right across the street from the Peoria County Courthouse, catty corner from Caterpillar, was like, it's I think the oldest standing building block in the downtown.
Yes, the original block.
And I always thought, well, this should be always rich in activity and blah, blah, blah. And yet it's always had a couple of empty stores. I mean, and for various reasons. But now I'm seeing some progress there. You got Jake moving in there.
Yep.
You've got a restaurant moved in where Richards was.
Yep.
The Mexican restaurant, I'm told, I've been in there several times, is busy on weekends. And usually on weekends it's like forget it. And I mean, that's a sad thing to say, but that's been our past, and hopefully that will change, especially when we get OSF in around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's going to be many more changes, but really we have to kind of look hard sometimes to see changes.
We do, yeah, and I applaud the people that are taking the risk as small business owners and going in there,
Right.
right. And I think this is an example of, again, rising tide lifts all boats. You have OSF coming in there for headquarters, but I also give kudos to our Civic Center for the amount of entertainment that's coming through there,
Right.
because that's what's helping those small businesses on Main Street and downtown and East Peoria even, with so much generating activity for the Civic Center. That's another avenue for more hustle and bustle down in downtown area. So when we have entities like OSF coming in here, construction jobs, and then Civic Center and conventions and meetings coming in, we're helping support those local businesses. And I think that provides the opportunity for revitalization. So.
And yeah, you're right. And the Civic Center, of course, is another one you can take for granted because it's been there a long time now. And, we accept the fact that Riverman Bradley and the special events and the conventions. I missed the farm show. I used to cover that all the time for the paper. And it was happened to be downtown when I was going on. I always felt compelled to go in.
Yeah.
And then I no, you're not covering that anymore. but there are regular things that happen here in Peoria that unless you're downtown, you sometimes aren't aware of.
Right.
Conventions and things.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And we're there to serve the conventions, but it's also great. I mean, the farm show, I haven't been there I was there, a family member 26 years ago.
Really?
When I was, and then I didn't get to go, I didn't end up going back until just now when I was in town last week. And so he called me to go out to the farm show. It's a great opportunity to see, so many people from just the region and then come into this free show and see what the industry of agriculture is now.
Yeah. And that's
People
another,
would be impressed.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's yet another, I guess, foot of the stool that there's this area. Agriculture is huge. Not necessarily in downtown, but all across the area.
For my last position with Darren, you quickly found how robust and impressive the ag industry is. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I'm sold the fact that our farmers are some of the smartest people on earth.
Well,
I don't know how they do it.
Did you realize, I mean, before you took the job with Darren, how wide that district was and how broad that is, or did you look into that?
You see it on a map, and then you start driving it,
Yeah.
and then it's a little bit.
I was going to say, if you've driven it, then you know it better than I do.
I've driven it, yeah, and but it's a beautiful district. It's a beautiful country that we have here in Central Illinois. So,
but it runs the gamut from city to country to
it
very
does.
rural.
You see everything,
yeah.
and it's wonderful. Yeah.
We're talking with D Dalfonso, the head of the Convention and Visitors Bureau here in Peoria. Okay, I got to ask you this one because this has been going on a long time. We have a hotel in downtown Peoria, the largest one in downtown. It's been closed since October 2013.
Yeah.
What's the story on that one?
Well, let's see. I've been able to see the hotel once now. I was able to walk through it with city official and got to see. So John Brinkman's GM over there was able to welcome me in there and take a look after I got started. And the projects continue to move forward. Kind of got to see what was going on in there, and which is good. I mean, they got furniture in the rooms and they're making progress.
Right.
And from what I was told, they're making progress.
We need furniture in those rooms.
I know it, but
we need people in those rooms.
It's a little thing too. But I'm going to meet with them tomorrow as well. Just maybe get an update as to what's going on. But CVB, it's critical for not just future opportunities for business, but current clients that have relied on that hotel in the past years.
Oh,
so it's pertinent that hotel gets open and all the CVB stands ready to work with them once they're up and operational. So
and how are things at the Pear? Good?
Great. Yeah.
New
Jeff
ownership
McClendon, ownership is doing well. Jeff McClendon's GM over there is doing a great job.
Jeff.
And you could just see things have just changed for the better, just in numerous facets. So you can just walk in there, and then what I get to hear from my end of things, it's they feel very comfortable with where they are with the new ownership. So
that's great. Yeah, I had to hand it to the folks over there for going through that whole period of uncertainty.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I think I ran into you with some other members of the media one time. We were just coming out of one of the bankruptcy hearings.
Yeah.
And how ironic that we're holding the bankruptcy hearings across the street. It's the federal courthouse, of course.
Yeah.
From the pair, and that was, well, that went on for months and months. Finally, of course, it was resolved, and now we move on.
It was, yeah. What a I mean, situation. Your second largest hotel.
Yeah.
In a trial there, and but that's got resolved. The new ownership and the new leadership there is thriving.
As you said, Peoria is resilient, and if you look at some of our recent history, it's a good thing we are resilient.
Yeah.
Because we sometimes those cards that come down are like, what?
Yeah.
You know, we have to react to it. But now that you're sort of been in the job for a few months, and obviously that's not really long enough to get all the knowledge you need, but what plans do you have? I mean, I know you said that there's that new aspect to making this a place that people want to live. What do you think about all these lists that come out? Because Peoria rises and falls on these lists. Various media do it. Best place to retire to, most expensive or cheapest. I think we do pretty well on some of those.
Yeah.
Do you guys follow that, or is it's sort of a mixed bag that you just accept for what it is?
It's a mixed bag for what it is. I mean, depending on what parameters they're using it, we're not. I mean, it's great to see. Yeah, the credibility. I mean, not that I disregard what they are, but we are so focused on the civic pride. I see people. I want people coming to town and say, "Hey, what should I see?" And people are like naming off. That it's hard to measure what I'd really like to see. Right. I love those lists. I want to see us continue rising. I'll take any first place title we can.
Top 10
it was good news, but really, as we've seen in some of the news that's come across in the last few years, I want to make sure people understand how great it is to be here, and that's where we're looking to go in a large picture, 30,000-foot level from the CVB standpoint. We're going through a website redesign right now with an industry leader in tourism and destination marketing. So we have top of the line people working to build our new website, launched mid next year, to help not just be informative, have a solid calendar of events and informative opportunity for people to come see, not just for people visiting, but here, Central Illinoisans, to see what's going on and understand what's going on. But again, to that other notion, how can we storytell and highlight the greatness that we have here, our history, our leaders today and in past, and so we're looking to really showcase and highlight that. And I think that again goes back to that civic pride. I'm not sure how you measure that besides seeing some.
Well, it's good that you're on the case here, because I think one of the things that you notice, and I'm saying this as someone who's been on the paper for a long time until March of this year. And this is a national issue, but you're seeing fewer people in newsrooms. You're seeing that it's a national problem. I'm not saying that just because I was in there, but you pick up any paper, pick up any internet feed, and you'll get the same story. And they've lost 70% of ad revenue since 2003, or whatever these stats are. They show this downward, and that's another, regardless of whose job gets lost, and that's always unfortunate. But the other side of that is the community. The information we get about our community.
Yes, right.
Because I know things are online now to a much greater extent than ever before, and the fact you guys are working on a new website, is part of that. We all need to be in there, and that's. I think the retailers know that too. Yeah. Because you can't change what's going down.
I know it, and I to that point, I really want to give kudos to our local media. Seeing them, working directly with them in my last job, you really got to see the trials that they have to face just as the industry is changing. Right. Resources are being cut, employees' bases are being cut, and they still keep plugging ahead. Right. And that's quite admirable for what we have, because it's pertinent to have these people and providing the news to update what's going on. So
that's a good point, because I think when people remark about that isn't what it used to be, that's by no means we're not criticizing anybody that's there now, either on TV, radio, or newspaper, because those folks they're carrying even heavier load. Yeah. And I think we can all agree on that. Yeah. You saw that firsthand.
I did. I had so many phone calls with reporters and talent, just kind of talking about what's coming and some background on some issues in my last job. But I I was talking to one reporter across the district, and he says, "That's great. How can I sell this to my editor to get the space? The space is being cut down.
Right.
Help me."
Right.
So you have to go a little bit further because
Right.
they want the story. They need to help selling it internally.
Yeah,
and I
'cause-
thought that was incredible.
Well, yeah, because sometimes you realize, okay, I can write a story. I don't know if I can sell a story, I mean, or as well as I need to. So
Yeah.
that's a great point because usually and I think it works the other way too. If you're going down, as we all are, scanning for stories, information, whether it's sports, news, or weather, you stop at what attracts you, maybe in a headline.
Yes.
And it's those few words catch your interest. Oh, I got to read this. Otherwise, boom, you go by it. So you really have to think in terms of what hooks people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, this time ran away from us, Katie.
know
We'll
it.
have to have you come back, and we'll talk more about your satellite office, which is just down the street, 315 Main. And also, we'll catch you in 2020 and see what's going on.
Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to being back.
Oh, no problem. Hey, we'll see you next time on Tarter Sauce.
PeoriaLife.com